This is the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast. We have assembled the world's finest sports and trivia dorks to prove once and for all that we are just as bad at this as we were at sports.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 240 of the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast, sports trivia for those of us who rode the pine. I'm your host tonight, David, and tonight's game will feature the Benchwarmer team of Marcus and Josh versus the team of Eric Eid and equipment manager for our Patreon team and special guest, Brent Ballmeyer. Welcome to the bench, Brent. How about if you take a minute and let us know where you're from, what teams you root for, and anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'm from a small town in southern Illinois near St. Louis, Missouri. I'm a former big Cardinals fan. I've given up baseball. Huge St. Louis Blues fan, huge Liverpool fan. I have my man cave back here, which nobody will be able to see, but I collect hockey jerseys a little bit. So,
wow, it's cool. Well, four of us can see it. It looks pretty neat.
Yeah.
So what drove the giving up the Cardinals? I don't know this about you. Or did you just give up baseball entirely?
Just gave up. I just lost interest in it. When you're in St. Louis, the Cardinals are pretty much jammed down your throat. It was a running joke among Blues fans where we'd say, if the Blues ever did win the Stanley Cup, which they did, it'd be on like page 3 of sports after the Cardinals signing a backup third baseman. And it's just like, man. And the game was slow and it just lost my interest. And as my kids were growing up too, I had less time to devote to sports, obviously. So it was like, baseball, you can step out now.
Fair enough.
It's a better watch with the changes they've made with the pitch clock, and it speeds up the game considerably. But I'm not saying you should go back and start watching it again, but it is a better product currently, I believe.
Yeah, I've been meaning to do that. And then in the summers, I find that during the hockey off season, it's just like, that's when I catch up on all my non-sports watching that I haven't been doing for the other 7 months out of the year.
Fair.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have you, and hopefully there's not too much baseball for your liking. All right, Eric Eid, why don't you tell us how you're doing, and tell us what your team name is.
I'm tired. We had several inches, I think 2 feet of snow today and yesterday, as most people will know. When this is recording, the Bills game was moved to tomorrow. But there's still a driving ban, so I don't know how people are going to get there. But I don't know. And I've never realized how angry people can get the second I should probably know this. The second you tell them they can't do something, that's the first thing they want to do. Like stay inside. It's dangerous. And you can't tell me what to do. Now I need to go to Walmart and get nothing. So I've just been looking through Twitter and just people just attacking like any of the politicians that like the governors, like, hey, no driving. It's an emergency. We're moving the Bills game. You can't do that. I'm like, well, they did, so just deal with it anyway. So Brent and I, we're both big hockey fans, but we don't see eye to eye with teams, as he's a Blues fan, and I'm willing to look past that and team up with him anyway. But we are both big Liverpool fans, so he's okay in my eyes now. So our team name today is the Reds, not those Reds.
Got it. All right, I get it now. It all makes sense. I didn't make the Liverpool connection. All right, Marcus and Josh, how you guys doing? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
All right.
I'm doing well. I spent a very small amount of time clearing the approximately 1 inch off my driveway yesterday. I don't feel bad because eventually I'll get dumped with a bunch of snow as well. Not as much as Eric, because he decided to live near Buffalo, where
my parents decided.
Well, you okay?
Fine. I didn't leave.
You haven't left. You stayed. And apparently Matt got a couple feet of snow in the Omaha area, right? So I don't feel bad that I only had 1 inch to clear, so it didn't take me very long, and I was fine. So life is perfectly swell.
This is the season when everyone on the podcast complains about their snow. So Marcus, you're up. No snow there, right?
No snow. It is like 10 degrees out, which isn't normal. But I'm terrible. I had about as good of a week as you could have. I go to the Sugar Bowl. I watch my Huskies win in person. Bourbon Street. Lots of fun to be had. and then I come back. I get sick. I've had bronchitis for the last week, and then my Huskies lose. They played their D-plus game, lose, and then our coach leaves. So this is this has been a rough, the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, all within the span of about a week and a half. But speaking of college football, and Josh agrees with me because everybody is doing this. So our team name tonight is going to be In the Portal. So just know we're both in the portal. And I don't know what that means or where I'm going to go, but I'm in there.
Brent, you hear that? Everybody's transferring off of our team. So anytime you want to start recruiting, now's your time.
I can't get co-host pretty damn bad.
My fee is
$750,000. Marcus, I do have a question asking for a friend. So your team loses a really bad game. How do I get rid of my coach?
A better job opens up and he leaves, and then he cries about it.
Eric, you're not going to have to wait.
Apparently doesn't tell the team, really.
All right, let's get on with some trivia. So we've got In the Portal versus the Reds, not those Reds. So let's go to Dan for the rules.
The game will consist of 4 quarters of play, each with different trivia style. The styles of quarters 1 through 3 will change from show to show, and I will explain them as we go along. Like any good sporting event, we will have a halftime show after the second quarter with entertainment questions. And in the fourth quarter, our teams will wager from their points accumulated to see who are today's clipboard captains, to be honored like the true benchwarmers they are. All right, let's get this game underway.
Okay, today's first quarter is going to be Let It Ride or Throw in the Towel.
Let it ride or throw in the towel. For this quarter, there will be 4 questions in a given category that increase in difficulty. After each question, teams can decide to let it ride and attempt the next question, or throw in the towel and take the points they have accumulated to that point. Each question is worth 50 points. If a team answers incorrectly, they will lose half of their points accumulated in the quarter.
The theme of today's Let It Ride or Throw in the Towel is siblings who played Major League sports. More specifically, 3 siblings who played a sport at the same time. So I'm going to describe a family, and all you have to do is tell me the name of the family. For example, if I said all three brothers played from 1940 to 1942 until 2 brothers left to play in the war. Only one of the 3 brothers made the Hall of Fame and was married to Marilyn Monroe. You would answer the DiMaggios.
I would answer play war.
I'm pretty sure they weren't playing war.
Did I say play in the war? I meant to say fight in the war. Well, the card game and all. All right, sorry about that. Okay, question number 1. One brother won an NBA title in 2020. 2 brothers won an NBA title in 2021. All 3 were born in Greece to Nigerian parents.
We can check in.
All right, In the Portal is checked in. The Reds, not those Reds. You guys can talk it out.
What's his? I hate saying. I can never say his name right. It's Giannis and his brothers.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah. So those guys, the brothers.
Yes.
Is that a check-in?
Sure.
Yes.
All right. In the Portal, what did you guys have?
Yeah, we just looked at each other, nodded, and I checked in. So I will say it is Antetokounmpo.
Very good. I actually read it down phonetically because I never say it right either. And it's funny, Eric, because I literally wrote the answer as Giannis and his brothers. So I would have given you credit for that. All right. So I'll go to the Reds, not those Reds first. Do you want to let it ride or throw in the towel?
Yes.
Perfect. I'm just going to assume. And In the Portal, what will it be?
We're going to let it ride, Coach.
Perfect. Everybody's in. Question 2. On September 27th, 2020, in Pittsburgh, these 3 brothers all played in the same NFL game. Only the second time 3 brothers have played in the same NFL game since 1927.
We'll check in, by the way.
All right, In the Portal is checked in. The Reds, not those Reds. Time to talk it out.
So you said what? There's am I missing it? There's a third one?
That's what I was wondering. If there was one I was missing.
Yeah, I think there is. Derek. I think Derek Watt's a thing. Is he like a fullback or something stupid, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so let's go with that. We'll check in with the Watt brothers.
Okay. And in the portal?
Yeah, once again, just kind of looked at each other, nodded heads. I did send it over just for complete verification, but yeah, because two of them played for Pittsburgh, and one for I don't know, 2020 was that? Would he still been Houston or was he in Arizona at that time?
I think it. Maybe that was the last one of his last Houston seasons.
All right,
Maybe.
anyway.
I don't know. Doesn't
We
matter.
also said the Watt brothers, the brothers Watt.
The brothers Watt. Yes, and both teams will be receiving points. And you guys got it right. So JJ Watt was with the Texans then. Exactly. And Derek and TJ were both playing for the Steelers at that point. All right. I'm going to go to in the portal this time. You guys want to let it ride or throw in the towel?
We're gonna let it ride.
All right. And as if I have to ask, the Reds.
I'm leaving this up. I'm leaving this up to Brent. He's the guest.
Go forth.
All right.
Here we go.
Question number 3. In September 1963, these three brothers became the first and still only set of brothers to play in the same outfield in San Francisco. One of the brothers would go on to be the winningest manager in Montreal Expos history.
We will check in, David.
All right. The Reds, not those Reds, have checked in the portal. Time to talk it out.
My first thought was, aren't the Alus? Weren't there 3 of them?
In the father's generation?
Yes.
Maybe, probably. I don't
They
have any
managed.
other.
Because they managed, right? Like one of them did at least.
Yeah, didn't Philippe Alou, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I guess I was just looking more for verification that you would think that there was 3 of them. I didn't know this.
As soon as you said Alous, I thought that Philippe is probably the one who is the winningest manager in Expos history. So
Okay, we'll check in with the Alus.
All right. And the Reds, not those Reds. What'd you guys have?
Brent, you can give it. You had this one.
Oh, yeah. We also said the Alus.
And both teams are receiving points. Yeah. So, Marcus, you were all around it. So, Philippe Alou managed the Expos for a pretty long time. He managed the 94 Expos when they had by far the best record in the majors, but then the strike ended their season. But yeah, it was Philippe, Matty, and Jesus Alou. One of my favorite bathroom wall things that I ever saw was once I was in a bathroom stall and somebody had written, Jesus is the answer, which was a very common thing. I'm sorry if this is offensive to people, but anyway, it said Jesus is the answer. Somebody wrote underneath it, so what's the question? And a third person wrote under that, who is Philippe Alou's brother? So anyway, I thought it was great. Okay, we're going into our last question, so I have to ask I forgot who to ask first this time, but we'll go to Brent. Do you want to let it ride or throw in the towel?
Let's go.
All right, there it is. And you guys, the portal.
that one scared me a bit.
That was a little scary. But
Like we were on like, oh, easy, and then it was like, oh, okay.
yeah, we got there.
We did. You think we can get to another level difficulty?
I don't know that for sure, but I'm willing to try. If you
Sure.
don't want to, we don't have to.
Nah, whatever. Do these points really mean anything?
It's real to me, damn it. We'll
I'm used to losing, so whatever.
Let it ride.
All right.
All right, everybody's going for it. Question number 4. All 3 brothers played cornerback in the NFL. All 3 went to school in state, but at 3 different schools. 2 of the 3 were first-round picks. They barely overlapped in the NFL, but all 3 played during the 2013 preseason, one at the tail end of his career and one at the very beginning.
We'll check in.
All right, in the portal has checked in. The Reds, not those Reds, about 30 seconds.
I'm not coming up with anything. Sorry.
So the only thing I'm thinking is if it's 2013, they all played in 2013. So that would mean ideally rookie, right?
Mm-hmm.
So rookie quarterback from 2013. And the only one I could think of that has brothers, I don't know if they've ever played in the league, would be Mike Glennon.
I feel bad, so I got to stop this. I tried to clarify this. Cornerback, not quarterback.
Oh, oh my God.
Corner.
I just
corner,
waited half of my
cornerback.
time
Corner.
on
Cornerback.
the wrong
Wait,
position.
so Marcus
Start
and
the
Josh.
timer over.
So I'll give you another minute just because I feel bad.
No,
But Marcus, you're okay. You're
we're
okay.
okay.
Okay. All
We're
right,
okay.
good. Okay. All right.
That's
Sorry.
the route. That's what we were going with from the
No,
get-go,
there's misreading the question, and then there's me, because cornerback and quarterback are hard audio. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. I don't know if that really helps, but rookie in 2013 would be. I'll throw dart. I mean, Logan Ryan, did he have brothers? Do you know?
No idea.
All right, let's just go with Ryan. We'll check that in.
All right. And in the portal, what did you guys have?
So I got stuck for a while. Immediately when I think of family and DBs, I think of the roles, but after trying to figure it out, Josh, was like, I don't know if Samari Roll played that long. And I said, yeah, you're probably right. And that was pretty late. And I was like, oh gosh, I got to think of something. And looking back at the question, he said they all played in the same state. And I went, oh my gosh. One played at the University of Washington, one played at Washington State, and one played at Eastern Washington. This would be the Trufant brothers.
One team is receiving points. Yeah, I didn't know for sure Marcus was going to be on when I wrote this, but I'm just, I was sitting there thinking to myself, if you guys throw in the towel and missed, and Marcus doesn't even get to answer this question, I would have been so bummed. But yes, it is the Trufants. Isaiah went to Eastern Washington, Marcus went to Washington State, and Desmond Trufant went to Washington. Well done. Well done.
Is Isaiah the older of the bunch?
Marcus is the oldest.
Marcus is the oldest?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so at the end of the first quarter, we have in the portal with 200 points and lots of time for the Reds, not those Reds, to catch up, who are now at 75 points.
We wanted to let you know that we are on Patreon if you'd be interested in supporting us financially. Your contributions will be used to help us cover the costs that it takes to bring you the high-quality sports trivia that you have come to expect from us. There are also some great perks that come with the Patreon membership to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast, including bonus episodes and Benchwarmer swag. You can find us at patreon.com/benchwarmerstp. Thanks.
That'll bring us to the second quarter, which today will be the missing link.
The missing link. This quarter will consist of 5 questions with theme-linked answers. The teams will attempt to answer the questions and guess the theme. Each question is worth 20 points. If a team checks in first via chat to the host with the correct theme before the 5th question, they will earn 100 points. The other team can still earn 50 points with the correct theme guess. If neither team has checked in with the correct theme before the 5th question, each team can earn 50 points with the correct answer to the theme after the 5th question.
Today's missing link, for no particular reason, the answers to each of these are actually going to be pre- and post-game answers, just to make Brent's head explode on his first episode ever. Okay, question number 1.
Oh, by the way, hold on. I just want to point out to everybody who's listening, yes, David got the eye roll before he even started now, because he deserves it.
Yes, it's true. Okay. All right. Maybe I should enter the transfer portal. Brent. Okay. Question number 1. Original name of the only charter MLS team in Texas, probably one of Walling's favorite teams. And with 22 home runs and 80 RBIs, he holds the Yankees team record for most postseason home runs and RBIs.
We can check in.
All right. The Reds, not those Reds, are checking in the portal. You have 2 minutes.
So if it is Houston Dynamo,
That's just what came to mind when I think of that. Does that sound familiar? I thought that's what the original name, right? Isn't it just
I don't know if they were they. See, the thing is, I don't remember who the teams were in the very beginning.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm just guessing.
Like, it's either that or it'd be a Dallas team, probably. And I don't.
Oh, yeah, it could be that.
So 22 home runs, 80 RBIs. So this can be one of the ones from the 2000s, right?
Yeah, like Bernie Williams.
That's why I was thinking Bernie Williams. Oh, you know what? I think the Dallas Burn used to be a team. So the Dallas Bernie Williams.
I avoid that when I go visit my family down there.
You avoid the Dallas Burn?
Yeah.
Probably smart. So yeah, should we go with that?
That sounds good to me.
All right, we're gonna check in with the Dallas Bernie Williams.
Okay. And the Reds, not those Reds. What'd you guys have?
I had Bernie Williams pretty quick. So I went that with Brent, and Brent hit me with Dallas Byrne. So we said Dallas Bernie Williams.
Both teams are receiving points. Yeah, I was trying to throw you off the sniff of Houston or something with the clue about Walling, because he would never have a favorite team in Houston.
Well,
ever.
Are we sure? Are we sure?
Ever. He talks about how Houston's an armpit. There's no way he'd ever.
So
have a
that's
team
like
there.
the only city he won't root for a team from.
I think that's his.
It's give it a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Walling is to Houston as I am to New York.
I don't know. He might become a Texans fan after the Cowboys game today.
Could be. Well, he's
I've been thinking about it.
Don't forget, he's got the Chiefs. All right.
See, my city for that is Boston.
Oh, really?
Ooh.
Okay, Josh is almost there, I think. Yeah, well, I was born in Boston, but all right. Question 2 of our missing link. Following Marcus Allen, Jim Plunkett, and Roger Staubach, he is the most recent player who has won both the Heisman Trophy and Super Bowl MVP. And when this famous announcer's grandson took over as the Mets public address announcer in 2018, stories circulated about how he would announce Todd Frazier coming to the plate.
We will check in.
All right. The Reds, not those Reds, have checked in the portal. Time to talk it out.
Yeah, I think you're right on Desmond Howard, right? I think.
Yeah, it does. Because I was going through just starting and going backwards, and I'm like, these names are old. I'm like, who immediately pops to mind? And it was Desmond Howard.
And then for famous announcer named Howard, doesn't it have to be Cosell? I mean, I don't know any other.
Todd Frazier.
All right, so should we check that in?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, we're going to check in with Desmond Howard Cosell.
All right. And the Reds, not those Reds, what did you guys have?
I said Desmond Howard. Brent hit me with Cosell. It makes sense. So we said Desmond Howard Cosell.
So that is correct. Both teams are receiving points. And when I saw this story, I just had to work it in. I had no idea Howard Cosell had a grandson who was the PA announcer for the Mets. But apparently when he took over in 2018, Todd Frazier was the third baseman. And they were trying to encourage him when Todd Frazier came up to the plate to say, like, up comes Frazier, right? But I don't think it happened. It would have been great. But anyway, okay. Our themed linked answers thus far are Dallas Bernie Williams and Desmond Howard Cosell. Question number 3. Along with LeBron James and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he's the only person to win NBA Finals MVP for 2 different teams. And drafted 4th overall in the 2017 draft, he is about to play an NFL playoff game with a 3rd different team, though for the first time outside of Florida.
We can check in.
All right, In the Portal has checked in. The Reds, not those Reds. Time to talk it out.
I got there. So the first part is 100% Kawhi Leonard. Just that's it. He was for the Spurs, and then again, that miracle in Toronto. And then the second part, 4th overall. I don't know why I just overpassed that immediately, but then I'm like, wait, he's still in the league. Is Leonard Fournette? He signed with the Bill, and I should know this because he signed with the Bills practice squad maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago, and now he just started popping his face up in games. So I'm pretty sure he'll play tomorrow. So yeah, it's got to be Kawhi Leonard Fournette.
Cool.
So we'll check that in.
All right, and In the Portal, what'd you have?
I was just giving some quick thought. I'm surprised I got to a draft answer maybe before Marcus did. But I was like 2017 and outside of Florida. I was like, okay, I think that's Leonard Fournette. And then I was like, oh, it's got to be Kawhi Leonard then, who absolutely won with the Spurs and the Raptors. So we also said Kawhi Leonard Fournette.
Both teams are receiving points. Well reasoned. That was perfect. Yeah, Kawhi MVP, both the Raptors and Spurs, as you guys said, and Leonard Fournette played, of course, for the Jaguars and Bucks in the playoffs. And now we think will probably play for the Bills. We'll find out by the time this airs. So our theme linked answers thus far are Dallas Bernie Williams, Desmond Howard Cosell, and Kawhi Leonard Fournette. Question number 4. Even though Josh Beckett won the 2003 World Series MVP, it was this pitcher who went 2-0 for the Marlins in the 2003 World Series, and 3 years later led the NL in wins, and the current men's basketball coach of the Memphis Tigers.
So David, we can check it.
All right. The Reds, not those Reds, have checked in the portal. Your turn to talk it out.
I mean, we know the second half.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
we know it's Penny Hardaway, right?
Yes.
I think there's a pitcher from around that time whose last name was Penny, but I can't think of what his first name is.
Brad Penny.
Oh, yes.
There we go. Thank
Yeah.
you. I was thinking of like Penn.
That's where I went just because I remember there's a pitcher with the last name Penny. So, all right.
So yeah, we'll check in with Brad Penny Hardaway.
All right. And the Reds, not those Reds. What did you guys have?
We said Brad Penny Hardaway.
All right. Both teams are receiving points. Well done. Well sussed out. Okay. Our themed linked answers thus far are Dallas Bernie Williams, Desmond Howard Cosell, Kawhi Leonard Fournette, and Brad Penny Hardaway. Question number 5. The first African-American head coach in the Super Bowl era and selected 13th overall by the Jets out of Missouri. He was the first defensive tackle selected in 2013. He went on to become the Defensive Rookie of the Year and even became the first defensive lineman to score a rushing touchdown in 2 years.
We'll check in.
All right. In the portal has checked in very quickly. The Reds, not those Reds. Time to talk it out.
First African American head coach is Art Shell.
Oh, that's right.
And so that means I don't know why David's thrown in so many draft questions, like where I can find it just by going through my database in my head. But first defensive tackle in 2013 out of Missouri, that has to be Sheldon Richardson. So
Okay.
that would be Art Sheldon Richardson.
That check in?
Yes, sorry.
Okay. No, you're fine. Okay. And in the portal, what'd you have?
It was a pretty quick first African-American head coach in the Super Bowl era. I wouldn't be a self-respecting closet Raiders fan if I didn't know it was Art Shell. And that makes Sheldon Richardson pretty easy to get to. So we also checked in Art Sheldon Richardson.
All right. Well, both teams are receiving points. Well done. And that means that our themed linked answers are Dallas Bernie Williams, Desmond Howard Cosell, Kawhi Leonard Fournette, Brad Penny Hardaway, and Art Sheldon Richardson. One team has submitted a correct answer, and I'm going to give the other team time to talk this out. So, in the portal has submitted after about the third question, but let's give our guest and Eric, the Reds, not those Reds, a chance to talk this out.
So David, you know I'm not good at this.
Well,
So
help might be provided.
You made it worse by just adding like even more names and stuff going on. So
Okay, it was Dallas Bernie Williams, Desmond Howard Cosell, Kawhi.
yeah, oh no, we got there. We're there. We're there. It's just I hate you. After Penny, I sent over to Brent. I am lost, and then I just started typing them out, and then I saw Penny again. I'm like, is that Big Bang? And then Howard made sense. I didn't know any of the other ones because I watched that show for like a half a second. And then Sheldon Richardson came, so we said Big Bang Theory, and I hate you still.
I'll accept the hate. I'll take it as a compliment. That is correct. And it is Big Bang Theory characters. When Brent told me in the pregame that he was a software developer, I felt like there was a reasonable chance that he would latch on to Big Bang Theory. So
Yeah, I've watched most of it and it just didn't click.
oh, okay. Well, you got it. You got there.
Yeah.
I'm happy for that. Okay, so after the second quarter, we have scores of the Reds, not those Reds, with 225 points, and in the portal with 400. That will bring us to halftime.
It is now time for the halftime show. There will be 3 entertainment questions pertaining to sports, with each question worth 25 points.
Eat already hates me.
Oh God, are you gonna get a second eye roll?
No. We've done this kind of round before, so it's
Okay.
not new. Each answer is going to be a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame band and a sports person. But instead of blending together, they're going to share a last name, and the answer will sound sort of like the people are in the same family. So for the band, I'm only going to give you a few of their popular songs, and the sports person, I'll give you a typical sports description. For example, if I said Ohio State football coach and Basket Case or Boulevard of Broken Dreams, your answer would be Ryan
Urban
and-
Meyer. Oh, sorry.
Ryan and Green Day. Okay, got it? Not so hard. Green Day was inducted in 2015. Okay, question number 1. In 1994, this fullback was selected by the 49ers, the last fullback that was selected in the first round of the NFL draft. And wish you were here or another brick in the wall.
We can check in.
All right. Before I get to paste the question, the Reds, not those Reds, have checked in the portal. Time to talk it out.
Pink Floyd. Who's the fullback?
Oh,
Last name's
gosh.
Floyd.
Yeah. I don't know. I should know this. I'm like, you know where I'm going? I'm going to the original PlayStation with Madden,
Okay.
and I'm really trying hard.
It's not going to help you.
I know.
So
Just
last
let
name
me
Floyd.
let me do my own process.
All right, you do your process.
You got to go to Super Nintendo.
Hell, I'm old enough to go back to Atari.
Me too.
I was an Intellivision guy. That's what we had
Oh,
in our
wow.
house.
Good for you.
Now I'm just gonna be guessing names.
I went to
and
Greg
what
Johnson's
sounds
house when I went to
good.
play in television.
How do you want this answer? How
So
am I supposed to say?
what is the fullback's first name? Do you know?
I think it's William.
So it would be William and Pink Floyd.
Okay. We'll check in with William and Pink Floyd.
All right. And we go back to the Reds, not those Reds.
Yeah, Brent hit me with Pink Floyd. I probably would have got there, but I'm not big into that older stuff. But William Floyd was, I probably have 405 of his trading cards. So a lot of them in rocking his Florida State, like with the spear part, taken off because you weren't allowed to have their like college logos on their helmets back then. Anyway, I'm old. So yeah, it's William and Pink Floyd.
Both teams will be receiving points. Yeah, Pink Floyd was inducted in 1996. And it pains me to hear you call them old music, but okay. Question number 2. Yeah. Question number 2. Jimmy King, Ray Jackson, Chris Webber, Jalen Rose, and Juwan Howard. And I Want You Back and ABC.
We'll check in.
All right. In the portal has checked in. The Reds, not those Reds. Time to talk it out.
Yeah, that's it, Brent. Go with it.
Okay. I believe the players you named were the Fab Five from Michigan, and I Want You Back in ABC is the Jackson Five. So Fab Five and Jackson Five.
Okay. And in the portal?
That would be the Fab and Jackson 5.
That's correct. The Fab and the Jackson 5. Well done. The Jackson 5 were inducted in 1997, and I'm glad that Ede's getting the hang of this. This is good. Question 3. The given name of the WCW wrestler who was credited with ending Goldberg's 173 match winning streak and Southern Cross, Our House, and Teach Your Children.
David, we'll check in.
All right. The Reds, not those Reds, have checked in the portal. You can talk it out.
I'm not going to get
Okay.
the first half, but you want the second half?
Yes, please.
That would be Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young.
That's kind of what I thought, because I'm fairly positive that the first part of this is Kevin Nash.
So our answer will be Kevin and Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young.
Sure.
Whew, we'll check that in.
All right. And the Reds, not those Reds.
All you, Brent.
Eric got Kevin Nash kind of quickly, and at the same time, I knew that it was Crosby, Stills, and Nash. So there we go.
Oh, is he going to penalize me for having Young in there?
I am not going to penalize you, but technically they were inducted as Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and there's all kinds of divisiveness in that group.
Yes.
But I had it down as Kevin and Crosby, Stills, and Nash. So both teams will be getting points. I will not be punishing you for throwing in Neil Young. All right.
I was punished for giving a wrong answer.
Okay. After halftime, we have scores of In the Portal with 475, and the Reds, not those Reds, just behind at 300. All right, today's third quarter is going to be David v. Goliath.
David versus Goliath. This quarter will consist of 3 pairs of questions, one easier, David, and one harder, Goliath. After hearing both questions, the teams will pick one of the 2 questions to answer, either David or Goliath. Each David question is worth 25 points, and each Goliath question is worth 50 points.
Question 1 of David v. Goliath. David, who is the all-time goals leader in St. Louis Blues history? Goliath, who is the all-time goalie wins leader in St. Louis Blues history?
We're going to check in.
All right, In the Portal is checked in. The Reds, not those Reds. I suspect this won't be a long conversation, but you can talk it out.
No, I mean I think Cujo's third actually. So
Yeah.
it's because I think Jake Allen actually passed him too.
The Stephen King book?
But no, it's how do you say it? Was it Mike
Mike
Lute?
Liute. Mike
Yes.
Liute.
So we're gonna check in with Mike Lute.
Okay. And in the portal?
So first, wait a second. Who? Never heard of that guy. So we didn't go for the Goliath. We went for the David with Brett Hull.
So both teams will be receiving points, and I'm glad that the other team has pronounced Liute for me because I wasn't sure how to pronounce it. But I found out in my research that he had the most wins of any goalie in the NHL in the 1980s.
I was going to mention that.
Yeah. So I had no clue, and I was vaguely paying attention in the 1980s hockey. So I was surprised that I didn't have any memory of this, but I guess I wasn't collecting hockey cards. So yes, well done, Brett Hall and Mike Liute. So that's David points for in the portal, and the
Mike
Reds not those.
Liute.
Like exactly, it's perfect.
You
All
know
right.
what, David? When you
Yeah.
when you said I'm not collecting hockey cards, I couldn't help but think of Christian Bale in The Dark Knight going, "I'm not wearing hockey pads." So if you could do that next time, that would be really
That would, I'll work that in. All right. Question 2, David. Who's the only undrafted quarterback to ever win the Super Bowl? Goliath. Who's the only other undrafted quarterback to start a Super Bowl? And yes, very draft heavy because I knew it was going to be Marcus against Eads. So,
We can check that in.
all right, the Reds, not those Reds, have checked in. So about a minute left for in the portal.
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Just trying to think it, so obviously a losing team.
And what sucks is that the farther back you go, the more rounds there were.
Who was quarterback for Carolina their first time?
Oh, Jake Delhomme.
Was he an undrafted?
That's about as good as a guess. I was going through the 90s in my head.
I was just trying to work my way backwards, and I got kind of
Yeah, no, I actually like that because every other one that I'm going through, I can say where they're drafted.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
I think Jake Delhomme was undrafted.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, let's do that.
All right. Well, we'll check in with the Goliath with Jake Delhomme.
All right. And back to the Reds, not those Reds. What'd you have?
So Brent, he's not great with the draft stuff.
I think the word I used was terrible.
Yes. So I'm actually waiting. So if they made a Kurt Warner movie because he won a Super Bowl, sorry, that's the David. If anybody wanted to know, but when's the Jake Delhomme movie coming out? Because that's if he won that Super Bowl, would there be a movie about him? Anyway, yeah, it's Jake Delhomme.
Both teams are receiving points. Nice pull to both teams. I found out in this research, I did not have any memory of this whatsoever. Jake Delhomme actually backed up Kurt Warner on the Amsterdam Admirals.
Oh, wow.
How's that for crazy? All right. There you go. And that was in 1998, just before they both made it. So, okay. Question number 3. David, what current Spurs rookie recently became the most recent rookie to have 30 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 blocks in a game? Goliath, prior to this season, what Golden State Warrior was the last rookie to have 30 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 blocks, doing so on December 19th, 2000?
David will check in.
All right. The Reds, not those Reds, decided to check in the portal. Minute to talk it out.
I don't know. This is a draft that I do like because it's just one that I remember like being excited for. This is like Kenyon Martin and Stromile Swift and Darius Miles. Aforementioned in a recently in the thread of Marcus Pfizer is in this draft. It's like, but I can't even think of who went to the Warriors or who that could be in the year of our Lord 2000. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we can just take the David because
Yeah, I don't
think
have
I'm gonna
anything
get there.
else.
Okay. Then we'll check in with Victor Wembanyama for the day.
Well pronounced. Okay. And let's go over to Reds, not those Reds.
So I went back and I'm trying to think, and I don't think it's like Jameson and I remember there's another guy and his name was it's not the name that you think. It's not Mark Jackson that you know. It's the Mark Jackson that nobody knows. He was a big Philadelphia guy. That's what kind of got me there because I remember I pay attention to a lot of Philadelphia basketball from being there and being a Villanova fan. I think he went to Temple, but I don't think he was the 2000 draft, if I remember right. He didn't debut in probably about 3 years after he was drafted, but we went with Mark Jackson.
For the Goliath, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everything that he just said is correct. Mark Jackson out of Temple, Mark with a C, not Mark with the K, the one, as he said, we all know, was drafted in 97 out of Temple, went and played in Europe, and then came and sort of caught lightning in a bottle and didn't really do that much. But yes, the correct answer is Mark Jackson.
Well done.
Yeah, that is a crazy good pull. I ran this question by Taco, and even I had it originally as the worst team in the league that year. I even told him it was the Warriors. He's a big Warriors fan, and he would have been right, the right of been in his sweet spot when he was paying attention. He still couldn't come up with it. I mean, it was crazy hard because he was going through all of the big men at the time, which would have been like Foyle and Dampier, Mark Jackson. Somebody must have been hurt, which is why he was playing. But anyway, well done. Well done. Good job.
I think he was. I want to say he was an all rookie that year too. So it's not like he had a decent season.
Yeah, he had a decent season.
Yeah, but nothing after that ever again.
He was all rookie. He wasn't rookie of the year, but he was all rookie. All right. So at the end of our third quarter, I have scores of in the portal with 575 and closing the gap, the Reds, not those Reds, with 450 points. And that will bring us to the fourth quarter.
The fourth quarter, known as Put Your Fours Up. This quarter consists of 4 categorized questions that teams will wager up to 100 points each, not to exceed their current point total.
So, fourth quarter. Since this episode should be dropping right around Charles Dickens' birthday, I'm looking for inspiration all the time. So, here are tonight's categories. Question 1, Oliver Twist. Question 2, A Tale of Two Cities. Question 3, Great Expectations. And question 4, David Copperfield.
Nerd.
Hey, what do you want from me? I'm always looking for some inspiration. All right. So Oliver Twist will be about Major League Baseball. Tale of Two Cities will be about the NFL. Great Expectations, let's say it'll be about sports literature. And David Copperfield will be about Hall of Famers. It's now time for the teams to place their wagers.
We'd like to take a minute to invite you to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at BenchwarmersTP. We also have a Facebook group for fans of the pod called The Bench. Join us there to comment on the latest episodes and share cool sports facts and trivia. If you'd be willing to rate and review us on iTunes or Stitcher, we'd greatly appreciate the support so that other people may find this podcast. Thanks.
Now that the wagers are in, on to the questions. All right. Question number 1, Oliver Twist. On the MLB career hits leaders, Al Oliver is currently number 58. I really liked him as a kid. So there are only 3 players above him who are not in the Hall of Fame and who are eligible, not accused of steroid use, and not banned for gambling. One was Vada Pinson. The other 2 both played their last game in 2012. One of those 2 played his entire career in the AL for 7 different teams, and the other played 20 of his 24 years in the AL for 5 different teams. I want you to name both.
So we'll check in.
All right. The Reds, not those Reds, have checked in the portal. We'll give you a little bit less than a minute to talk it out.
I don't know.
That's the thing is like all we have is 7 teams in the AL, right? And it's like I'm just trying to think of somebody who would have racked up a bunch of hits, in like I said, the early to mid 90s to 2012.
Yeah.
And that's where I don't know if the last one I sent Johnny Damon, if he played for 7 teams. I mean, is he a guy that did that hop around at the end of his career?
He did a little bit, but I can't confirm 7. And like I said, I was just throwing out Jermaine Dye because I'm like, I don't even know if he even has enough hits to be that high, but
I'm not sure he played for 7 teams or made it to 2012 necessarily. How many teams can we name for Johnny Damon?
Royals, Red Sox, Yankees. He played for the A's?
I think maybe for like a small stint. I mean, I was just, like I said, I was trying to think of guys who played kind of in that time frame and who would have been guys who got a lot of hits, but aren't heralded to get into the hall kind of thing. That's kind of where that's where his name kind of popped for me, but I just can't think of 7 teams. But
Yeah,
you listed 4, they're all American League, so it's possible he had
Sure.
3 more.
Sure.
Do you agree on the second one, Omar Vizquel?
yeah.
The
That
24
fits.
year is the thing
Yeah,
for me that really jumped out.
yeah.
So,
No, that I like that one.
all right, we're gonna check in with Omar Vizquel and Johnny Damon for 100.
All right. And the Reds, what'd you have?
One of these names was fresh in my mind because I just wrote a question about him for a game I was supposed to host, and then there was a windstorm and I had some issues. Anyway, so I just recently was looking at his stuff, and that was Omar Vizquel. Johnny Damon came to mind. I asked Brent if he's in the Hall of Fame. He said no. So, Brent, Johnny Damon, your thoughts?
I'm good with that.
Okay, and he doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame ever.
I would agree with that.
Thank you. All right, so we're checking in with Omar Vizquel and Johnny Damon for 100 points.
Both teams will be receiving their 100 points. Well sussed out. The 24 years was Omar Vizquel. The only stint he had in the NL was with the Giants. And Josh, to your point, yeah, Johnny Damon was one of those guys who absolutely bounced around towards the end. So he was with the Royals for a while. Then he had a very brief stint with the A's. Then he went, of course, Red Sox, Yankees. And in the last 3 years, he went Tigers, Blue Jays, Indians/Guardians.
Wow. Yeah.
So, yes.
I don't remember anything probably after I probably don't remember the end of his Yankees stint, to be honest, but
he's played for every team I hate.
Who, Johnny Damon?
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't realize the list was that long, but every single one of those teams is just.
Well, he racked up 2,769 hits for all those teams that you don't like. Vizquel was almost to 2,900.
One thing I pride the MLB on is that they're not like the NBA where everybody gets in. So
yeah,
I used to think that until
Harold Banks
got me.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, let's move on to question 2, A Tale of Two Cities. There are only 2 running backs in NFL history who have rushed for at least 5,000 yards for 2 different teams. And it was the same 2 teams. Name both running backs.
All right, we're going to check in.
All right, the portal has checked in. The Reds, not those Reds. Time to talk it out.
So to rush for 5,000 yards, 2 different teams.
I can't think who the other one would be, though.
There's not many running backs with over 10,000 yards.
Yeah.
So Ricky Waters, LaShawn McCoy, but he wouldn't have done it for. I don't think he did it for 2, or he did it for just 1. Corey Dillon. Would Bettis have done it? Probably not.
Yeah, for some reason, my mind kept going to the Steelers too.
Right? Peterson, Curtis Martin, maybe Jets, Pats. Is there another good Jets, Pats guy? Because that's what he's looking for, right?
Right.
So I just want to make sure that the running back would have done this. It's the same 2 teams. So
both running backs he's looking for did this with the same 2 teams.
Okay.
That's why I said with the one that you sent me that I said I was mulling around too. I don't know who else. I don't know who the other guy would be. But those 2 teams go way back.
So that would be the Rams and the Colts.
Right.
So another Rams Colts running back, Dickerson.
Did he play for the Colts?
Yeah. He went from the Rams to the Colts. So he did it the opposite way, where Falk went from the Colts to the Rams. So let's do it. I'm we probably should have got there a lot faster, and we didn't. But I think we got there nonetheless. So we'll check in with Marshall Falk. Wait, do you want both running backs? Marshall Falk and Eric Dickerson for 100 points.
Okay, and back to in the portal.
Checking in with also with Falk and Dickerson for 100 points.
Well done, well thought out, and both teams are receiving points. Yeah, I've got nothing to add other than the commentary you put on this. There aren't that many 10,000 guys to start with, and then to find a guy who roughly split it. Yeah, well done. It's Marshall Falk and Eric Dickerson. All right, let's move on to question 3, Great Expectations. Beginning in 1956, what long-running segment in Sports Illustrated has featured high school and other amateur or beginning professional athletes, several of whom go on to greater things, while others not so much?
We are checked in.
All right, the Reds, not those Reds, have checked in the portal. Time to talk it out.
Yeah. You remember, I don't know how many episodes ago it was, where there was discussion about some Judy Blume book or something, I don't know, or Fudge, whatever there was some book that was referenced about kids, and I do believe I said I ain't got time to read because I was busy playing. So reading and then knowing what a particular segment is called, yeah, no. And Marcus, he sent over, yeah, I don't know what this is. So we were glad that we bid 0 points because we have 0 clue and 0 answer. Marcus, you have anything else you want to add to that?
I'm trying to make something up.
No.
Okay.
Little Heroes for 0 points.
Little Heroes. I like it. All right. Well, let's go back and maybe get the right answer from the Reds, not those Reds. What'd you have?
I seem to remember, and I looked at it every week it came, and it was in the back, like in the last few pages. And I think it was called Faces in the Crowd.
Well, one team will be receiving points, and that's the team that
Wait.
gets Little Heroes. Oh, sorry. I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. It's Faces in the Crowd. Go ahead, Eric. What?
No, we didn't for 100 points.
Yes, I assumed. Yes, thank you. Yes, it was called Faces in the Crowd, and I think they actually moved it around. When I was a kid, it was always one of the first few pages, and I always wanted to see, because if you go back and look, the number of people who made Faces in the Crowd at some point was ridiculous. They would pick these people out of high school. Of course, for everyone that was actually went on to something, there were probably 10 that were complete and absolute busts, and nobody's ever heard of them. But you know, they'll take credit for all the good people. So yes, it was called Faces in the Crowd, and good for these guys that they didn't bet anything. All right. We've come to the final question of the night. Category is David Copperfield. What 2 future Hall of Famers did the Kansas City Royals draft in 1979? Neither signed with the Royals. In fact, both opted for college in the state where they lived. And both were drafted in the first round 4 years later, one with the first overall pick and the other in the next to last pick of the first round.
All right, we're going to check in.
All right. In the portal has checked in for the last time tonight. So that means for the last time tonight, the Reds, not those Reds, can talk this out.
Oh my God. I hate this question. I hate you, David. I hate it all.
Wow, that's a lot of hate.
Yeah.
So these aren't baseball. I mean, they're baseball players. He's not talking.
I was
What was
I had that
4
occur to
years
me.
after 1979?
83.
There's a very famous very famous NFL draft.
Oh,
And
yeah.
who was first? It would have been John Elway, and second to last of the first round was Dan Marino. I'm gonna go shovel snow. So we're checking in with John Elway and Dan Marino for 100 points.
Okay. And in the portal?
Yeah, tricky. David Copperfield, the magician, not the book. It's a trick question. Yeah, I pretty quickly thought it was a trick question just in general. And then that solidified it when I looked back at the David Copperfield. I was like, okay, there's lots of guys who get drafted in 2 sports. And then it was like, 83, first overall, Elway. And then Marcus was pretty quick to get me that Marino was the other. So we also checked in with Elway and Marino for 76 points.
Yes, both teams are receiving points. And Josh, you nailed it exactly. David Copperfield, the Dickens novel, but also the magician. And this was a trick question. If you thought it was Brett was a little bit earlier in the 70s. The Royals did not have much of a draft. And the first pick of the Major League Baseball draft in 83 was, I went to look this because who the hell keeps track of those things? But I think it was the Twins. The Twins took Tim Belcher, the all-star that he is. But yes, the correct answers are John Elway and Dan Marino. Well done to both teams, seeing right through it, even though it's forced E to go shovel snow. Well, there you go. So our game has come to an end, and here are the final scores. The Reds, not those Reds, finished with a very respectable 850 points, but our clipboard captains of the game, who are receiving the coveted Jamie Martin Award with 851 points, is in the portal. Well, there you go. Brent, let's turn it over to you as our guest. We'll give you a chance to sort of take us home here. So what have you got to say to us?
Thanks for having me on, and it's good that I think we're going to be working together a little bit more. I host the Sports Trivia Face-Off, which I think was the predecessor to what you guys were doing. And thank you for picking that up and running with it. I appreciate that it was still going on. Anyway, sportstriviafaceoff.com. We come out every 2 weeks. And if you're a Patreon subscriber, you get something extra on the off week. So come and check it out if you're not, haven't listened to us before. I know there's a lot of people who listen to both. So, and Marcus, I know I had you on the show. I think I had you. Didn't I have you lined up to host, and then the pandemic hit? And
yeah, I went to Geek Bowl in Chicago as the new co-host with
oh
oh my gosh.
yeah, I blanked too.
Win. Wasn't there a guy
Go
last
Win.
name Win?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah, we went there as to like, network and whatnot, and yeah, and then the world shut down. So
Yeah.
Remember the joke that they made at Geek Bowl? This is the last public gathering.
Yeah.
And then they made that joke on stage, and I'm just like, you sons of pups. Anyway.
Yeah, so Brent, you're right. We only exist because the pandemic kind of shut you down, and we were all looking for an avenue to still have sports trivia. So that's the whole reason we became a thing. So I mean, it was sad that you needed to take some time, but now there's plenty of sports trivia for everybody to listen to.
It's still, and I'll say this 100 times now, and probably next year, and hopefully the year after that, if we are still doing this, I still can't believe we're coming up on 4 years that we've been doing this. This is, I've had one job in my life longer than this. So,
and I've been fired by this one, by Eric, by, I don't know, 12, 13 times now. So I'm,
And unfortunately, we've taken away his HR abilities, so he can't actually fire you.
Yeah.
I'll get it back.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So Brent, thank you for continuing to produce the content that you do, because it's a lot of fun. I enjoy stealing your questions. No, I never do that. No. It's a lot of fun to listen to, and it's fun to hear some of the people who are on both shows going back and forth and hear them, hear how they do, and of course the style is so much different that it's fun for any good sports trivia fans to just can go back and forth and not feel like they're there's a lot of content to get from both. So it's great. So thank you for coming on. Thank you for doing what you do. And on behalf of Josh, Marcus, and Eric, I'm David. Or Lux. Thanks for listening to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast. And until next time, we'll keep the bench warm.
That ball hit high and deep. Stretch! Get on back there. They look up. You can put it on the board. Yes!
Herpes free. They mentioned it once this entire episode.
Yeah, from Mitchell, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
That great music you're listening to is by Justin Nozick. Thanks to him for producing that music for us. You've been listening to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast. Make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We are at Benchwarmers TP.